Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 23 My Team Career Mode. This is episode number 79 today for the British Grand Prix in Season 5. If you guys did miss the previous one at the Spanish Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. Drama as myself and Gasly collided, and in the end of it, actually, even bigger drama was then a little bit of a small incident in the pit lane entry with Carlos Sainz careering into the pit entry wall, causing a red flag. We had a chance to come back through, but unfortunately we got rear diffuser damage and we had to really fight just to maintain second place, and Gasly would go on to dominate that race and take his first win for his new Audi team. Annoyingly though, to my discontent, after we were battling him directly for first place and just wasn't able to catch him up. I mean, even before the diffuser damage, I was struggling to catch him. That's why we're pushing so hard, as to go so wide and damage the diffuser. So he unlocked some pace there, and Audi, well, at least with him, looked very quick in that race. So could this be Audi starting to maybe heat up a little bit? You know, they've overtaken Haas now in the Constructors' Championship, quite quietly, because before it was Red Bull and Haas fighting over that third spot. Now Audi have crept in there, but of course in that race, both myself and Tsunoda managed to finish ahead of Théo Pourchaire. Tsunoda with another cracking comeback drive outside the top 10. Pourchaire as well came back through that one. They both got a bit lucky, with Pourchaire more so with the red flag, but he still leads the championship then. But myself and Tsunoda 1 point apart, and we gained a small margin on him, and looking to maybe do the same again here at the British Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Leclerc suffered a mechanical failure, so he's on the back foot now going into this Grand Prix and try and turn around whatever gremlins were in at that Aston Martin of his, whilst his teammate has honestly been the driver of the last two episodes. And I suspect we may be seeing Tsunoda at the sharp end once again. He is literally the man in form, and question marks about whether Théo Pourchaire now, third time lucky, can break this streak of 2 knockouts in Q2 in a row and try and find his feet again after a pretty impressive drive in the race, at least in Spain, to recover to P4. But, it's a far cry from that pole position to win combo he had in the first 2 episodes. But Q1 for us, not as clean as I would have liked at the end. Quite a bit of traffic and bad timing on the second run. Thankfully, we do make it through into Q2 by the skin of our teeth in 16th place. That could have been a nightmare, but it is a nightmare for Leclerc. Look at that down the bottom. I didn't actually notice this until editing the video, but Leclerc, his misery continues. Not only did he have a DNF at Spain, he now doesn't even set a time in qualifying, so he must have had a car issue in Q1. So it's going just from misery to absolute disaster class for Leclerc here, in a car that is capable of challenging for the top spot, and a car that should be giving him a chance to fight for a world championship. Slowly, it's looking like his teammate is the one it's leaning towards for Aston Martin Honda. Of course, Tsunoda, he's maybe built the team around him. I don't know. He was there at Aston Martin for the previous season. Leclerc's new to the team, but doesn't really explain the engine gremlins. That's just Leclerc's luck, it would seem, in the F1 game, as it is in real life, maybe. It means potentially one less quick car to worry about for ourselves as we try and get into Q2, and we set a pretty decent first lap in the end, though. Tsunoda and Russell go quicker, but it's so close there. 500ths of a second separating the top 3. Felipe Drugovich, unfortunately, doesn't get through, along with Mick Schumacher. It's a good day in the office for both Audis, who are in to the top 10, both Mercs as well, and that's at the detriment to the McLarens and Mick Schumacher and Drugovich, obviously. And the McLarens actually was a surprise, because they were both in the top 10 in Q1, so I was thinking for a moment, hang on, and McLaren maybe found some pace again, but no, they're back to their kind of, usual stuff this season, where they've just been off the pace compared to that uber consistency in previous seasons in this series. So it's all to play for here, and we have a good chance of fighting for pole position, because 500th of a second was nothing in Q2, and it's a very good sign early doors. Our first set of laps, P1 there, ahead of Bottas, Russell, Pourchaire in P4, and Tsunoda down in P5. So Tsunoda maybe making a mistake, just not as hot as he was in Q2, but there's obviously one last run to go. And Pourchaire, well, he improves, but he's only improved up to P2. The 2 Audis have come in, Sainz and Gasly now P4 and 5. So Tsunoda nowhere to be seen. He's just maybe made too many mistakes on his laps here in Q3, feeling the pressure compared to Q2. Pourchaire's put in a lap and it's not gone quicker than us. So at the moment, even without this improvement of ours of 2.5 tenths, I think we could be good for a home pole position. We could finally be breaking this bogey kind of circuit for us. You know, our home race has never been happy hunting ground, especially in qualifying terms. But across the line we go. We do improve slightly, and we are going to keep pole position at our home race. And it's a 1-2 for the team as well, with Pourchaire in second. So he has truly completely got over that little 2-race slump of poor qualifying Pourchaire has. Sonoda, he'll be a bit upset with P7 considering he was top in Q2, but let's remember, he's come back for 2 podiums outside the top 10 the last 2 races. So P7, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Sonoda's going to be fighting us for P1 eventually in this race. But for us, what a result. Pole position for the home Grand Prix.
Welcome to not only the home of British motorsport, but also the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, a classic on the calendar, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. Straddling the border of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire, the 18 corners of Silverstone Circuit form the 3.6-mile beating heart of Formula One. It's been reinvented over the years, with Turn 1 now the fast right-hander of Abbey, but the magic of racing is as strong here as it's ever been. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. It's the owner-driver then in pole position, and Théo Pourchaire completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Sainz, Gasly, Russell, Tsunoda, Fittipaldi, Norris, Verstappen, Drugovich, Mick Schumacher, Liam Lawson, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Ocon, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Joe, Perez, Sargent, and Charles Leclerc completes today's grid order. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And with me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. We should talk about Williams. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Make no mistakes about it, this is going to be a very challenging race, even though we've got P1 pole position. It's a front row lockout for this team, but our teammate's going to be a threat. He's the championship leader. He's been so quick for most of this season, and now finally he's got back to the front on the starting grid. So you know he's probably going to be trying his best, but we've got some quick Mercedes behind, and Bottas and Russell a bit further down the order. The 2 Audis are there, P4 and 5. Now Gasly was scary quick in Spain. If both of them, Sainz and Gasly, are quick, we're going to have competition from them. And then we know Tsunoda. We know what he's been doing recently with that Aston Martin Honda. So many people chasing us down, but that's the pressure you get by getting on pole position. And here we are at the home race, going to 5 red lights. For the British Grand Prix, we're underway from that pole position, and it's a cracking start for us. It's probably the best start we've had all season. Everyone has bogged down versus us. Tsunoda, though, look at that on the top left. He's already up to P3. Ridiculous. This guy, he's literally on smoke at the moment. P7 to P3 in one corner for Tsunoda. But Pourchaire did have a decent start. He didn't get overtaken. In fact, he's now side by side with us as we go down this straight through to the left-hander. Pourchaire trying to swipe across, but we are keeping our foot in on the inside into Le Fil. Pourchaire on the outside is going to get washed out, and we're going to remain in first place, but he's going to come right back at us. He's underneath the rear wings, pretty much pushing us through the corner, and he goes for the dive, maybe to the inside of Copse. We give him the room. We nearly bang tyres, and the Frenchman has got up into first place. We're trying to come back at him, but we have come back at him into Maggott and Beckett. A little bit more contact made, but us 2 teammates really fighting hard for supremacy here early on in the British Grand Prix. But we need to watch out. Tsunoda is lurking, but Pourchaire is giving it the big ones. He's not only defended Tsunoda there, he's actually managed to outbrake me and go round the outside. He's now pinched me off there and maybe not given me all the room in the world that I deserve there as we dip a tyre into the grass and lose the position to Tsunoda. Lap 1, obviously, you're going to try hard, so not going to think too much of it, but that was a little bit cheeky from Pourchaire to give us that squeeze to get us down to P3, but we're going to stick with Tsunoda and Pourchaire, and it seems like we're all very equalised as we get over the curb a bit too much there. The rear end steps out. We need to be careful. If we lose these guys, we lose DRS, it might be curtains, so we need to make sure we at least stick in that, and I'm sure Tsunoda is going to be trying a move at some point on Pourchaire, and that will invite us in, to get back into the fight, get back into the middle of it, but insane action on the opening lap there. Behind Russell, the two Audis, then Bottas, two Alfa Romeo Haskars looking pretty decent, of Drugovich and Fittipaldi ahead of the two Red Bull Fords. Leclerc, he's at least got up to P19 then from last place in these opening 2 laps. It's Tsunoda, there you go. What did I say? Tsunoda was going to try it. He didn't quite commit to the move into Maggotts and Beckett's, but he's going to have a good run here on Théo Pourchaire. Which way is he going to go to defend, and which way will the Japanese driver try and make his move? Looks like on the outside. Pourchaire holds a very tight line to the outside there, kind of doing what he did to me, trying to squeeze him out off circuit almost. But Tsunoda keeps his foot in and is defiant in his attack and gets up into first place, and that is our cue to try and get into second. But Pourchaire is fighting us a lot harder than Tsunoda, it would seem. Unfortunately for us, is obviously he wants to try and keep the seniority in this team. He's been doing the overall better job. The championship standings don't lie, but in the recent 2 races we've had the better measure over Pourchaire, so I can understand why he's fighting us a little bit harder, maybe trying to get one back over us. But eventually we do shake him off with a little bit of tyre banging involved in the last sector up into second place, and we can try and set our sights on chasing after Tsunoda, who is obviously coming off the back of 2 amazing races, and before that obviously won the Bahrain Grand Prix, so he really is the main man in form and the man to try and beat. But we have done so in the last 2 races. Even though he's attacked us so valiantly, we have beaten him both times. Can we do it a 3rd time here as we go down the inside to try and get P1? We try and do what Pourchaire did, squeeze him out, but Tsunoda does exactly what he did to Pourchaire. He keeps his foot in on the left-hand side of that section of circuit and just keeps the position, and he's just not getting squeezed out. He's not getting scared off the racing line at all, as Pierre Gasly, like in Spain, sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix and is closed up to the fight for first place. Literally deja vu. This is what happened in Spain. I was too busy fighting, Drugovich and Verstappen, and Gasly came through with a purple lap and, came through to steal P1. Here it's my fight with Tsunoda as, we're still going hammer and tong. Tsunoda pulling out to the right. We're defending, but the Aston Martin Honda is so quick off the line. And I saw a comment of one of you guys in the last episode that maybe I need to think about that final engine hurdle upgrade. I definitely think we need to do that next episode. We spent so much time building our own engine with Lamborghini, and with that comes the perk of some extra engine upgrades, and I think we need to deploy that final upgrade, because even though we overtake Tsunoda back to the inside of Copse, that Aston is just looking a bit too quick for us in a straight, and we're having to maybe hope that Gasly here actually maybe holds up Tsunoda enough that I can break the 1 second as Gasly ekes through into second place. It's like Spain all over again. He has arrived in that Audi. Russell even has arrived in the Mercedes car. Hang on a minute, Tsunoda all of a sudden maybe down to 4th place as Russell's on the outside. The worst camera angle though, the nose cam, to really see what's going on, but it seems like Tsunoda's just going to nip ahead. Meanwhile, Sainz has pit very early on lap 4, so I imagine he's got damage. So just like in Spain, Gasly flying high and Carlos Sainz in the other Audi just not making the most of his car as Gasly tries. Oh my God, he tried a little cheeky dive there, but I wasn't getting sucked into it. I wasn't defending that because I knew he wasn't even going to get the nose in, and if he did, he would have just caused a spin or a crash, so it would have been on him there. So we weren't kind of, getting spooked a little bit. Meanwhile, Drugovich is successfully making a dive down the inside, maybe, of Russell at Copse. So the Brazilian now up into P4 maybe in the Haas. Go on, son. Very, very nice there from Drugovich. Both Haas cars cars going well. Fittipaldi's in P7, not too far off Pourchaire. Pourchaire is nowhere now. He's fallen off a cliff, it would seem, having been overtaken by myself and Tsunoda. Drugovich and Russell continue to battle as the Brit is trying to maintain the position, but the Haas genuinely has some really good pace, it would seem, around here. He's on the soft compound, though, so Drugovich obviously you would hope to be a little bit quicker in that kind of scenario, but meanwhile, Leclerc, P14. It's a story of two tales for, Aston Martin and Audi. Gasly and Tsunoda are up there, Sainz and Leclerc down the bottom. Ironic that Leclerc and Sainz were teammates, obviously, in the failing Ferrari team a few seasons ago. It seems like they've just stuck to that same vibe no matter what team they're in. As here goes Gasly trying to go round the outside into the final few corners. We're losing the back end a little bit as maybe the tyre wear starts to creep in. Gasly all over the back of us there. He's looking to make a move. He's gone for the move and he's hit us and he's spun us into turn one, and there's an almighty collision with Tsunoda. The red flag is out. Pierre Gasly is out of this Grand Prix as well as Tsunoda. Somehow we are still in the race, but I think with major floor damage as Gasly made the dive a little bit too late, understeered, or pretty much went straight on at turn one. He didn't even try and make a turn. Like, look at this. Like, I turn in because that's where you turn for turn one, and Gasly's not even trying to turn, or he's understeering as he turns. Tsunoda tried to take avoiding action. The Haas has decked Gasly into P1. That's Drugovich, I think. So I think Tsunoda and Drugovich both got spooked by what they were seeing, because what they saw was a T-bone collision ahead of them. Tsunoda's trying to be too clever and go round the outside of both of us on the escape road. He's actually met my rear wing, and Drugovich has just locked up and gone straight on, being spooked and scared by what's happened there, it seems, and crashed into Gasly. So Gasly's given me major floor damage for the rest of the race. Gasly's out, and Tsunoda's out. Tsunoda, that's a big shame for him because he wasn't even involved. But with that level of floor damage, I may as well maybe be out. I don't know. We're going to have to see what the pace is like. I'm hoping it's okay and we could still recover some good points. Because, of course, we lost out anyway, points-wise, to Gasly, let's say. And obviously now we probably will lose a few positions on the starting grid. So the likes of Pourchaire may be ahead of us now on this restart as we get going for lap 9 it will be. But again, the strategy screen seems a bit glitched, and I'm now convinced that I think red flag strategies are broken in the game at the moment, because that looks like I've set the hard tyres, correct? But we load in and I'm on mediums. Why? Just why? As we go to 5 red lights for another go at the British Grand Prix on lap 9 now of this red flag restart. Already I can feel a little bit of lack of downforce. We get boxed in by the Audis. George Russell up into the lead of the race, because I think it was Pourchaire on the de facto pole on the restart, because those two flew past us both, with that crash, and Pourchaire actually has got back into first place. So it's Pourchaire from Russell. Fittipaldi is the lead Haas in third place. Drugovich fourth. So it's a brilliant day for the Haas cars with that collision between myself, Gasly and Tsunoda. We're in P5, still hanging on to it, but I'm quite annoyed the fact that we're on mediums, because I wanted hards all the way to the end of the race, and now we're going to have to try and take mediums to the end, which a lot of other drivers are doing, but I just would have preferred to be on the hards, knowing that would have been a better tyre for me personally, as we watch Leclerc really struggling for grip here, and he's down in P13, so he's recovered somewhat well, but there's a long way to go, obviously. But this is not great for Leclerc, and really not great for Aston Martin then, because currently it'll be 0 points for the entire team, as Russell is licking his lips, because he's got a chance now to try and win a race, but like in Imola, he's got an AAR Lamborghini maybe ruining the party. This time it's Pourchaire looking to ruin the party in first place, and was he cut back to Fittipaldi in third, Drugovich fourth. What a day in the office for Haas, but can we try and spoil the party as we are locked in behind Drugovich, trying to chase after them? A little bit of a wag on the tail, massive wag of the tail. Oh God. And we've lost the back end. We've lost the back, and now we've got major rear wing damage. Orange front wing. That's pretty much, I think that's the max you can get on a rear wing, unless it's red. So great, brilliant. And that, you know what that was? That was just the lack of downforce mid-corner with the floor damage. Oh my. Well, It's curtains. It's curtains. I think it's safe to say we've got to take the L and say it is curtains now. I was going to say, yeah, the only reason I span that first time was because of the floor damage, and now I'm just going to be spinning everywhere because of the rear wing damage. It's going to be a very long afternoon for me, and probably not much point really actually even continuing, but, you know, you never say never. Maybe in these situations, we'll see. But right now, let's just focus back then on the actual fighting and racing going on here in this Formula 1 race, shall we? As we see Russell and Porsche side by side. Russell has got the better of Porsche now through the final two corners. The Mercedes leads the way then from the Frenchman. Drugovich has got up ahead of Fittipaldi in 4th place. And Bottas, look at him heating up now, P5. It could be a great day for Haas and Mercedes as a whole. Meanwhile, Leclerc is up to P12, so he's slowly making his way up the order, I guess, as we come into the pit for a set of hard tyres, but we're so far off anyway. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't think you'll be seeing us ever again in this race, to be honest. As Russell, we focus back on him in P1. He's probably going to be looking back in his mirrors because Porsche is still very much within half a second with DRS now activated in this race. Norris DRS on Fittipaldi, so Norris looking to maybe spoil the party for the Brazilians who are doing so well so far. And, oh, what's happened to Bottas? Bottas, he was in P5, you know. He's now just been overtaken by Albon, of all people, in the quite slow McLaren Honda of this season. I think Bottas has an issue. I think he must do, as we now cut on later to lap 13, and Norris is now fully trying to get that P4 from Fittipaldi. Verstappen's in there as well. It's going to be 3 wide, and the Red Bull and Ferrari, both of them go either side of the Haas, and Fittipaldi is probably just completely spooked out of the position as he sees 2 pretty big names in Formula 1 coming at him pretty hard and fast. Verstappen unable to make the move on Norris to finish off the move for P4, but he will get another chance on lap 15. The Ferrari is coming at the Red Bull Ford at a rate of knots and goes for the move for P4. It's the first time really since last season of the Austrian Grand Prix where Verstappen has looked pretty damn handy in that Ferrari. Could this be maybe a turning point for the Scuderia? Because genuinely he seems to be sticking with the P4. Porsche continues to be pressurized by Russell. Drugovich in no man's land, and maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe it's the commentator's curse, because as I say, Verstappen's doing pretty well to hang on to P4. Norris is coming back at him. It's a great scrap. Verstappen versus his old team, but it's Red Bull now powered by Ford that gets up into P4, and Verstappen has to settle for P5, and now Fittipaldi is actually coming back at him on the inside. Oh my god, Fittipaldi actually might make an amazing move here into Village, is going to carry on the inside line and try a valiant effort, but Pierre Gasly, that's how you dive down the inside at turn 1, by the way. That's how you do it. As Magnussen is slow in the Gulf Williams. He was actually nearly fighting for the points at one point off the restart, but he's actually pulled up then on the grass on the main straight to DNF out of this Grand Prix, and that's going to call out a second red flag of the day, because that was a dangerous spot to park up in, according to the FIA. So it's 5 red lights, and we're underway for a 3rd time here in Silverstone, and what an electric start it is for Max Verstappen. He's just got himself up into 2nd place, but what's that I hear in the distance? Guess who's back?
I'm back, boo! Would you bloody believe it? Everyone's here, old memories are here, and I think we're going to go up to some mischief.
Yeah, that's right. We've actually managed to get back onto the lead lap with this 2nd red flag. I was still in this race, just hobbling along at the back. 3 laps, 4 laps down, but we've stuck at it and we're back in this race. But unfortunately, as I alluded to the first time, we kind of gave up in this race. Even though I'm trying my best, I can't even finish off the move on Sergio Perez there in the Andretti. The damage is way too much, and I forget how much damage I have going through Mags and Beckett's, and we spin it again. And we're back to square one. We're back to, there's no mischief. The only mischief we're doing is just being a nuisance for the back markers for a split second. And that is my cameo of the second half of the race over, because we're now cutting to the more pressing matter at hand. It's the second last lap. Porsche leads, but 2/10 off him is Verstappen. He's chosen the soft compound for this restart. Porsche on the mediums. The Ferrari looks rapid right now, and Porsche locks up. Oh, Porsche has felt the pressure, and Max Verstappen has pressurized him into a mistake. The Dutchman takes the lead of the British Grand Prix, and this is how it looked from from on board. Pourchaire feeling the pressure of Verstappen lurking on the soft compound. Double lock-up for the Frenchman, and he's down to P2. Again, it's another little chink in the armour. Pourchaire is not bulletproof, and, you know, I feel like maybe if this was Pourchaire from the beginning of the season, he absolutely wouldn't have made that mistake, but he has done now, as he has been making a couple of mistakes in qualifying especially, but here in the race today, at a crucial point, because we're now on the last lap of the Grand Prix, he's defending from Russell to Norris for the podium positions, but Max bloody Verstappen is going to win again in Formula 1. Ferrari, after ages in this series, have won again in Formula 1. Incredible stuff there. Pourchaire second, and Leclerc did actually manage to get up into some points, at least P9.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, staying out of trouble was probably the most important factor here. In the race where half the field weren't classified at the checkered flag, you were able to guarantee a good result by basically keeping the car running. With their pace and a decent strategy as well, I don't think the race was ever really in doubt.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
If you'd asked me to make a bet on who was going to win the race at the first red flag restart, it never would have been Max Verstappen. But Verstappen using a fresh set of soft tyres that I think he had from qualifying to good use in the last part of that race compared to others, and he's done it. He's finally got Ferrari a win after so long, and he's won again in this series after so long. What a mental British Grand Prix. Guys, if you have enjoyed it, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.